Thank you for joining in today. Today I have Tamara. Hi, Tamara.
Hi, how are you?
I'm Roland. Yourself?
Good, thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining in today. And can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Tamara, and I live in Western Australia. I've been here about over 20 years, originally from the UK. It's a great life here where I live near the beach. So I go swimming. I live near the national park. So I love ocean and trees and music. So I've also done a bit of sound therapy in my time, had a very eclectic career. Music and nature, I guess, is my kind of happy place. I love dance. I was always told as a kid that I couldn't sing. So I've been having singing lessons for the past year just to like prove that I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I spend my life with my boy Mac, who's here, and my two cats. So yeah,
And
so
who's
that's
Mac?
but Mac, Mac, my dog. Hold on, if I move the camera, you might be able to see Mac. So excuse me for my fingies in front of the camera. This is, I don't know if you can see it. Can you
Oh,
see
hi,
it?
Mac.
Say hi.
Just
So
move
here's
the
my
camera
little,
up just a little bit. There you go. Hi, Mac.
he's camera shy. So anyway, so here's my little support this morning. Um, yeah, so I also volunteer. So I do a lot of doggy stuff. I love dogs. I volunteer for um, WA assistance and therapy dogs, which I think you guys call service dogs.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, Mac used to be a service dog in training, but he had seizures, so he got dropped. So that's when I adopted him. So he's now mine. He's also a story dog, though. So we go into a school, him and I go into a school and we sit with kids and they read stories to him as part of volunteer work as well. So, yeah, and I also work, I work in mental health as support work and also do crisis support, but on a text and chat service as opposed to phones. So we get a lot of you get a lot of young people on the text and chat service, like as young as like 11 and stuff, messaging with all their crisis that they're going through. So I think that basically covers me.
Okay, it sounds like your life is very full.
It is, isn't it? Yes. Sounds like it.
And what are your
Yeah.
cats' names?
My cats' names are Kitty and Boots.
Cute.
Yes, they are. But they're very shy, so they're hiding.
Today we're here to talk about trauma. Can you tell us your trauma story?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting, you know. I've listened to like a couple of people that you've interviewed, and they've kind of talked about acute trauma, and developmental trauma is so different. When I kind of looked at it, that's why it's interesting. Like trauma looks different for everybody, doesn't it? And so I found out in my 50s, which was a few years ago, that I had experienced developmental trauma. I had a bad day at work, basically, went to a psychologist, and we started having a few sessions, and she said to me, from what I told her, she kind of explained developmental trauma. She'd explained how when the amygdala's online, the prefrontal cortex goes offline and you're just in stress. And as a child, when you are stressed, that's what happens. You're just anxious and stressed all the time. And I was reading through the video for embodied processing, and they explain developmental trauma as a trauma that is ongoing and starts in the early years of life. And it has a core need to feel safe and connected, and being attuned to not being met. You're not attuned to in a chronic way over time. So it's not something that happens like that. It's like the first 10 years of your life is your developmental trauma. So basically, I grew up with all these behaviors, which I never put down to trauma until someone who knew better pointed them out to me. And the behaviors that I kind of lived with is if a nurturing female came in my life, I couldn't handle it. I found it very painful. I normally push them away. And I think anything with love, like when I first got Mac, when I first adopted Mac, I wanted to push him away because of the love. So it's like receiving love. Obviously, relationships are really hard. So I'm still single because relationships are really hard, because trying to receive love and accept love and have that healthy attachment bond, abandonment issues, fawning. And I think the main thing was with me, because I was never encouraged or nurtured as a child. Like I thought I had a great, I think this is the thing, I thought I had a great, and I did really have a great childhood, as far as I know, as far as I can remember. But I didn't know who I was. I didn't have a sense of self. With hobbies and stuff, I just followed other people. Although looking back now, I did love nature and music, and that's kind of what I've gravitated to as I've, in my 50s, as I've kind of found myself. I didn't want to be seen, very shy. I've also had a diagnosis of ADHD 2 years ago, adult diagnosis. As a 17-year-old, seeing photos of myself, I had quite a good figure. I would just dress like big jumpers and stuff, like I didn't want the attention. I probably disassociated most of my life as well, which is funny, because then disassociating from the feelings has helped me to do stuff that I probably wouldn't do if I had felt the fear. So it's kind of like a superpower.
That makes sense. And can you be a little bit more clear? Can you explain what dissociation means for our viewers?
Yeah, sure. So disassociation is when you're not fully in your body, you're not feeling the feels. You're kind of almost sitting to one side, or your awareness is sitting to one side. So you're putting the blinkers on, and you're not feeling the feels. You're not fully experiencing the present moment. You're just kind of, just sitting on the sidelines of the present moment. And life is sensory. So, if you're not feeling the feels, it's not just about bad things. You don't feel joy, excitement, all the good feelings too. Like you can't have one without the other. You don't feel. So, so I probably missed out on feeling life, to the full. And you almost put a mask on and pretend. You kind of just get on with your life, but you disassociate. And I would go into sessions with this psychologist, and I started recognizing when I dissociated. So then we kind of learned skills. And that's why with embodied processing, it's really good, because it helps you get back into, it's all about getting back into your body and feeling the feel. So now it takes a lot of practice, I think. But now I can do that. I can stay present. I've got my tools that I use to do that. So, and the other thing is the major thing in my life is safety. I always wanted to be safe. Like I would never go, like I've got friends who jump in a camper van and go on their own traveling. And I was like, no, I would never do that, because I just wouldn't feel safe. So being safe myself has been really important. And even now, when I bought a house and stuff, I went for one that I could feel safe in. And with safety I've recognized throughout my life, comes control. So when you feel in control of stuff, you feel safe. So if I don't feel in control of things that are happening, or I didn't feel in control, then that will bring up real feelings of stress and anxiety because I didn't feel, my life wasn't safe then. So now looking back at my behaviors and stuff and things I've done throughout my life, I can kind of see it. So it's been a journey for the past few years since then, really just to find out who I am and to live in my body fully and feel, because really that's, the good ones and the good ones and the bad ones. Yeah.
Trauma can have a huge impact.
Oh, like massive. And especially when you don't even know, you just think it's part of who you are and your behaviors, and then you go, oh, actually I can work through my trauma and live in my body and feel safe without being in control. Like, you can do this stuff. But sometimes I think as well, just from the work I do, working through trauma is the harder path. Easy path is just stay what you know, because if your body's done the same thing for like 30, 40 years, it's hard to change behaviors, even if like we all know how to be healthy, but we don't necessarily all be healthy all the time, because changing behaviors it takes energy, and the body doesn't always like to do the energy thing. It likes the nice, easy, safe, known path. So yeah.
And are you glad you started your healing journey?
Yes, absolutely. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I just feel so much better in my skin, more comfortable in my skin. Just being able to cope with life better. But once you go down the rabbit hole, there's no way. You just got to keep going. So
I know what that's
and
like.
I think it's a journey that never ends. Do you find that it's like a just continuous?
You just keep on going. You're like, oh, there's something new there. I just discovered something new.
Exactly. Exactly. You go, oh, okay, that's come up again. And I think the other thing with it as well, you don't know if you recognize like a behavior that you've got, you don't know really until it gets triggered and you're in that situation again. You go, oh, that's come up again. That's interesting. So yeah, that's the other thing as well.
What has helped you heal?
What has helped me heal? Self-awareness, I think, is the main, like the key to it is self-awareness and realizing self-awareness. So a lot of work I do personally now, I have a real sense of people taking back their own power, self-empowerment and agency and self-responsibility. So I think that's quite passionate about that. You can do it, and only you can do it. And there's people like therapists and stuff that can facilitate you. But at the end of the day, you only get out what you put in. Anything in life that you do, whether you're an athlete or whether you're healing your trauma, you only get out what you put in. So I think that's helped me heal, is the self-awareness and taking time for self-care. And like I've done a few 10-day silent retreats, which are great, or just having a weekend at home without any responsibilities and just hanging, just taking time for yourself, really. But yeah, and also seeking out people that can help you and things, and being okay with, like, I've probably tried so many things, and being okay with trying all different things, and different things still help at different times. Like I was in Bali recently and went to the sound healing just because I enjoy it really. But at the same time, it does help. but I find that kind of healing very passive. Whereas when you do more somatic experiencing work, you're more of an active person, so you have more of awareness of what's happening and stuff. So yeah, but I guess that's what's helped, is just following the breadcrumbs. I say that about, like leading like a spiritual life as well, is just following the breadcrumbs, of life, and having faith that things will come to you as and when you need them. So that's probably helped as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And would you say healing is a journey that you take every day, following those breadcrumbs and following your spirituality?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me personally, a meditation practice is really quite important. A contemplative kind of practice is really important to help connecting with myself, and just, I guess, you should sort of get to the stage where when you feel a feel, you're like, oh, where did that come from? And then you might just have a little inquiry yourself into where it came from, and sometimes you get some real ahas like come up. But I guess having a meditative practice is really important for me. Music is really important for me. Like my singing practice has been really quite a journey. I actually love singing hymns. That's how I started going to singing lessons, was I was singing a hymn in the car, and I was like, oh, I don't think I sound too bad. So that kind of got me into singing lessons. So, and part of the work that I do, I kind of meld a few processes together. And one of those is a modality called personal medicine, which is a lady in the States there called Pat Deegan, who has created that. So I'm a personal medicine facilitator, and it's all about what you do to stay well and feel well, which kind of which blends into, what you take as well, your medication, but also what you do. And it's quite an in-depth questioning process to get into that. So I guess do that as well.
And have your animals helped you heal?
Yeah, I would say so. I used to have a cat who passed away a couple of years ago. He was my little buddy. And he was a ginger boy. Then I got him a ginger girl. And now the ginger girl's got another man. She's got a black and white man. And then Mac has been great. So when I got Mac, I started volunteering with the assistance dogs. And I take him. He had public access rights, so we go to the shops, we go shopping. It was great. But since I've adopted him, yeah, he's like he kind of gives you love, purpose, and something to care for. I think when you don't have kids as well, it's important to have something to care for. Yeah, he's great. He's like having a man in the house. He's like my man.
Your little man.
It takes up half the bed. So yeah, he's like my man. So yeah, I think he does, but I probably don't realize. And he's probably helped me heal more with accepting and receiving love. Being able to do that and practice doing that. So yeah.
That makes sense, because sometimes when we've been so hurt, it can be hard to open up to others, and animals feel safer to open up to be able to love.
Absolutely. So yeah, and and I think people who have kids, just the depth and the fierceness of that love is quite, it can be quite challenging to accept, to feel, but as part of the healing process, that is part of it. So yeah, and I guess not being afraid to do that and allowing yourself to open up. Yeah. But yes, if you hear snoring, it's not me, it's Mac. He's snoring here.
Oh, I don't hear any story.
That's okay.
And what advice do you have for our viewers?
Ooh, so from the work I do in crisis support, I hear a lot of counseling doesn't work for me. And I think that's because talk therapy brings, like, your body, when you talk about something that's happened, your body doesn't know the difference between it happening and talking about it. Like the emotional reaction, the chemical reaction is the same. So I think that's why counseling, people do get re-traumatized, like talking about it. So I think finding a therapist or finding a facilitator that you trust and be comfortable with and you're able to open up with completely is really important. Like the embodied processing obviously is one that I love because it is so important to feel safe. You know, when for someone who hasn't felt safe most of their life, feeling in a safe space is quite tough. So I think that's really important, is to feel really safe in the space that you're in with your trauma journey, and know that it's not going to happen straight away, and know that yes, it's going to be painful, and once you start, you just carry on and learning more. And they say that you peel the layers of the onion. Is that what they say? You peel the,
Yeah, you say it.
kind of get one layer, and then you think you're done, and then you get another layer, and I guess just expectations of that, and read books like Gabor Mache and Peter Levine. I've found their books really helpful. Like I listen to Audible, I listen in the car, and I found their books really helpful. And yeah, and be kind to yourself. Like don't beat yourself up and expect. And the other thing they say is you're not broken, so you can't be fixed. Is that what they say? It's like people say, oh, they want to fix me, but you're not broken. And again, take self-responsibility, and it's your healing journey. So yeah, take it on board, and just feel the pain, expect the pain as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
And you can turn on the pain a little bit at a time. You don't have to, within body processing, you don't have to feel it all at once. It's like a tap. Turn a little bit on and then go back into a resource. Turn a little bit on and go back to a resource. Just a little bit at a time. So we're able to process our emotions. And with the in-body processing, I like that there's not a lot of talking. It's more going into the body.
Yeah.
And healing the trauma that's held in the body.
Yep. That's exactly, and you've got it, you're spot on there with, the safety is the fact that it's a very gentle process. And it goes, everything's welcome, and it goes at your pace, which is lovely, yeah. And you can just bring it on whatever you can cope with, and then you can just switch it off again. And yeah, it's a safe space to be in. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really
You're very
appreciate it.
welcome. Yeah, it's been fun.